Yo, what's going on? Facebook, YouTube world. This is your boy, Rex McLeod, coming at you with another podcast. And I thank you all for joining me. We're going to get this started. Yeah. All right. Check this out. We're going to go ahead and get right to it. Thank you all for tuning in today. I have corrected a lot of issues that was going on yesterday. I had a lot of I want to say connection issues, but I got down to the bottom of it. Had some new lines dropped, internet lines dropped. So everything should be pretty good today. So we're going to get right into it. This is your boy, Rex McLeod, your homeboy, your cousin, your friend, your favorite podcast, Guru Man. Just to let y'all know, Moses is doing fine. The baby pelican egg, he's doing very, very good today. You know what I'm saying? He has been rotated, and I only expect that he's doing well today. So Moses is doing good. He's great. Right now, I got him inside of his incubation area. He is pretty much feeling good, sitting inside of his area. I found him a new little housing spot to keep warm in. So that's that. I don't know how much more to say about my pelican egg, but I'm gonna let y'all see him from time to time just to see that he's doing well. He hasn't deteriorated or rotted or anything like that, so he's doing good. All right, all right. I'm gonna let y'all know, give y'all a brief rundown of what I had going on today. I went and did a little bit of fishing, and had a little fun, social distancing, riding on my ATV out in West Alton, trying to make the best out of a good day before we run into a bunch of more rain and cold weather and things of that nature. So I definitely encourage you to do things that are very positive and at a safe distance away from others. Because I don't know if you noticed, but since this pandemic has been going on, it seems that a lot of people like to come up to you and talk to you or impose upon your space like never before. And I just don't understand it. Even the videos that I see people who are minding their business, going on walks, things of that nature. They are attracting racists, idiots that are running up to them saying stupid things. Um, you know, just a bunch of bull crap. So I encourage you all to stay at a safe social distance away from these people because people are trying to push you to that level, push you to the edge. Don't let them push you to the edge. It's just not worth it, okay? All right. To get right into the news for today, we have a story that's coming from New York Times. It is stating that the internal dissent as states reopen despite the virus. Several mayors and employers have asked residents to ignore the Georgia's governor's declaration that some businesses can resume operation while the coronavirus lingers. In Atlanta, the decision by Governor Brian Kemp to begin restarting Georgia's economy drew swift rebukes on Tuesday from mayors, public health experts, and some business owners, with skeptics arguing that the plan might amplify another wave of coronavirus outbreaks. Um, I definitely think that they're moving just a little bit too fast, but it is being stated that these numbers have been exaggerated a lot, that these numbers are, they do not reflect actual numbers. As I've been seeing this for a while, that these numbers have not been looking too good. These numbers have been confused with numbers that are combined with pneumonia and other illnesses. You might get coronavirus numbers that have people who had the cases, and then you might have the deaths. Then you might have these coronavirus deaths combined with something else. And then you have unidentified deaths. Then you have deaths from violence, um, non acts of violence. Like they're confusing the numbers up with the deaths. So it's hard to really pinpoint. But we do know that this virus is real. Okay, it is a real virus. It's just not. It's just that it's not doing the amount of damage that we all thought, but it's real. There are people here who have loved ones who have died from this virus, and as I just saw today, it seems that most of the deaths, if not all the deaths, here in St. Louis, Missouri, are African American deaths. One thing that I did see from a little bit of research and running across some news articles is that this virus tends to attack the liver. And if you are white or, don't have the uh, melanin in your skin, then it appears that as it attacks your liver, it's turning your skin dark. But most of us that works in healthcare fields and things of that nature know that when you go through liver, like cirrhosis of the liver, different liver diseases, that it does change the color of your skin. And if it doesn't change the color of your skin, then by the time you die and they begin to embalm your body does turn darker color. So these things are just happening. It's just some people, and this what I'm finding very odd is that in this age that we are in right now, there are a lot of people who do not have the knowledge of common sense when it comes down to the human body and how it functions, which just says that we need to have more sense of health and health care in this current day and age. We can't just rely on the things that we hear from people. We have to actually study and know these things, okay? So I would definitely urge you that if you're concerned about certain things with the human body, definitely go and do some research so you can find out more info so that you can be more inclined on what's going on with the human body and not just believe things that everybody says, okay? Now, to move on, the Senate just passed a $480 billion interim stimulus bill to tide over small businesses. Okay. After weeks of fighting, the Senate has passed another deal aimed at tiding over small businesses. The legislation, which lawmakers are describing as a interim spending package before the next major stimulus bill, includes roughly 480 billion in funding, 380 billion of which is dedicated to small business loan programs. It's a much needed boost for hundreds and thousands of small businesses as the money that Congress previously allocated for forgivable loans and grants has run out. It's worth noting, however, that some of the same loopholes that enable larger corporations like Ruth Chris Steakhouse, I don't know why that even matters, to apply for these loans, they still remain. In addition to the funds for small business loans, the bill also includes 75 billion dollars for hospitals, which are experiencing severe revenue shortfalls as they combat the coronavirus, and 25 billion dollars to establish testing programs. Money that experts say is much needed in order to build out the country's testing capacity. I don't know if you all heard about those tests. There are a lot of rumors going around that those tests were tainted, that there were people who really didn't have that, like the ones that recovered, that they really didn't have it, and that those tests had become compromised by the coronavirus germ. So when they did the testing showed that these pretty much these tests were positive. Um, don't know if it's true or not, but I could say that it's a very high probability that they were. I mean, they're in one test facility testing multiple people. Don't know how they're putting these test samples away, but it could be possible that a negative test could have been right next to a positive test, and the germ just festers. Um, we've seen that this happens, and it's possible. So I wouldn't rule it out and say no, it's not, but I will say that it is something worth looking more into. And you all definitely need to be very, very precautious on these germs. You need to be precautious on, the people that you let around you, inside of your homes, inside of your cars, in your personal space. Um, this is it's not a better time right now than to adapt to having your own personal space. It's very important right now, so definitely do it. Protect the elderly, protect the sick, protect the handicapped or disabled, however you would like to label them. But there are people out here who are worse off than you are. So please, please look out for them in every way possible. People who have mental diseases and issues, mental illnesses that are going on, definitely reach out to them, make sure that they're okay. Everyone is going through things right now. We're all living in this stay at home lockdown type of order, and it has a lot of us feeling like machines. We're not machines, we are humans. We do have feelings, we do have emotions, things of that nature. Just do things constructive to keep yourself busy so that you don't become a product of cabin fever. Cabin fever, sorry. So definitely do what you have to do to make sure that you are keeping yourself protected and the others around you. Watch your children. Okay, those of you who have kids and your kids are very, you know, uh, um, curious. They like to mess with things and get into things, go probing in mom and dad's things, essentials, and things of that nature. Please watch your kids. Please teach them and rear them up the right way so that they don't be like those kids over in Illinois who had pretty much um, got a hold to some guns and they had a shootout over there. Had the police going through, I don't know what. I need to get more information on it, but it is a story that I did see. I wanted to dive off into it, but I try to stay away from acts of violence and talking about it. But it's a lot of stuff that's been going on that's been getting pretty stupid. So the Takachi Award today is definitely going to go to someone who did something very stupid today, and it's worth giving them this award. All right. Now to move on, the mapping the spread of the coronavirus in the U.S. and worldwide. More than 100,000 people have died worldwide from this pandemic, and that's as of April the 10th. And the number of reported cases is over 1 million. According to data from Johns Hopkins University, the United States is now the outbreak epicenter with more recorded deaths and reported infections than any other country. Several countries are confirming thousands of new cases of COVID-19 each day, led by the United States, where testing was slow to begin. All right. And on March the 31st, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres called the pandemic the most challenging crisis we have faced since the Second World War. Everyone has comparisons and things they want to compare this to. So I'm just not entertaining people who want to compare this to war and things of that nature. I just choose not to embrace any of that. Um, I feel like this is its own engine. It doesn't really need nobody to engineer it. It's moving on its own. So this virus is its own entity that takes over um, who it sees fit, and it doesn't have any eyes, so it's blind, moving around. So for Missouri, just to give you some numbers, confirmed cases for Missouri 6,105. The change from Monday for Missouri comes at, I want to say, roughly 215. That is plus 4%. We also have 229 deaths. Um, this is something that, listen, the last time I reported on these deaths, we were at 175. So for us to be where we are now at 229, it's just showing that people are continuing to hang around each other or put themselves in positions where they can catch this virus. They're not taking things very serious. Hence why I feel that the stay-at-home order and the lockdown needs to continue. It shouldn't end just because a group of white males went and stood on Capitol steps in Colorado to protest the stay-at-home order, which prompted more protests to be done across the country. I feel that these protesters are government insurgents. They have been placed there by the government. That's what I feel. I also feel that if this was any other ethnicity standing on those steps with guns in their hands, they would have got effectively taken to jail as soon as possible, possibly even beaten or shot or taken the wrong way. It's strange how a Caucasian can have a assault rifle in their hand on government property and not be looked at as a threat. But if it's anybody else, they're a terrorist. I do not understand this. I wish that people like that would stop because it jeopardizes gun laws. There are some of us that are responsible gun owners that do the right thing with our guns. We only bring them out if we need to defend our families, our property, etc. Um, and it just doesn't need to be something that is boasted and bragged upon or hid behind. If you're a man, then you should be able to stand your own ground. Your voice should be able to be heard without that. Now, we have freedoms, and those freedoms should not be taken advantage of because you have a right to bear arms. But we live in a society where there are people who live by the code of peace, and every aspect of their life has a lot to do with peace, and their freedom comes from peace. Now, my freedom comes from peace and peace. Okay, so I'm peaceful as long as I don't have to use my peace. So do not place me in a position to where my peace is disturbed because you choose to entice into violence or disruptive behavior that causes an uneasy tension. Um, I don't like to be placed in those positions. So, me personally, I remove myself from those scenarios. There are some people who do not like to remove themselves from those scenarios, and they make matters worse for themselves or place themselves in situations that they cannot get themselves out of. So, I just know when to cash in my chips and go because there's no amount of protesting that I would do that would lead me to be in a situation where I'm going to jeopardize my freedom, you know? So you just have to really look at things in the aspect of trying to be the type of person that would really look at things in an aspect of trying to trying to better society, trying to better the mind frame of, I want to say, the stagnant individuals, people um, who don't really have an opinion about either or, but they judge every scenario um, with the iron fist. You know, whether it be a person with a gun or a person without a gun with a loud voice. Um, there are people who judge that those books and they judge them hard. So we have to make sure that we're setting a good example to those who like to judge the book by its cover so that they can understand that they have to look within the substance Now, I'm not saying that those gentlemen that were standing on those steps with the guns are bad people, but what I am saying is that the message that they're putting out is that, hey, we need to open our states back up. We need to lift these lockdowns back up. I mean, lift these lockdowns. Now, if you have these statements that you're saying from federal steps, then the guns pretty much say that either you do it or we're gonna do this. That's the impression it gives. Either open up or we're gonna retaliate with guns. That's what it looks like to me. Now, to a fellow person of their race, they would probably look at that like, yeah, we're Americans. We got freedom. We can do this. We can do that. Yeah, talk. But they wouldn't even be worrying about the guns. But, me, if I was there talking about we need to lift the stay at home order, we need to open the government back up, and I have an AR 15 just on my back, hanging off my shoulder, I look like a terrorist. I look like if you run up, I'm going to take your head off. Um, Forget what my words are saying. Why does that uh, um, black man, well, this be much harsher words being used, but why does that black man have to have a gun? See, they're all thugs and gangbangers. That's my problem. All right. How we get looked at when we do the exact same thing. And then on top of that, in that crowd, there was not a single black person in that group of protesters. So it seems like they chose carefully who was to be involved in that protesting. So that's just how I feel about it. If you have some views on that, definitely comment. Let us know what's going on in your head and how you feel about it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, um, both on Facebook and YouTube. Please chime in, and I do have a phone number for the podcast. So if you would like to call in, definitely go onto the Facebook page and you can see the phone number that's there, or on YouTube. The number for calling in is 314-202-4888. When the phone lines are open, we will definitely start taking calls and letting people go ahead and speak so we can talk about the issues at hand. All right. Now to move on, we're going to get into some entertainment. Birdman offers to pay rent for those living in his hometown of New Orleans. Birdman is aiming to ease that burden of those financially impacted by the novel coronavirus pandemic in his hometown. On Monday, 51-year-old rapper announced on Instagram that he intends to pay 1 month's rent for those living in the community where he grew up in New Orleans. Birdman, born Brian Williams, told his followers to stay safe and called on other local figures and organizations to pay it forward to community members in need. He stated in his words that he would like to offer to pay everyone's rent for 1 month, made for those who are in need in residence area of Uptown, New Orleans, where he was born and raised. He also wants to thank the hospital workers on the front line for risking their lives and saving lives. The co-founder of Cash Money Records previously spoke about his new beginnings in New Orleans, explaining that watching his father's own small businesses in their community inspired his own entrepreneurial spirits and his pursuits. Um, Definitely, I feel that if Birdman wants to do this for his community, I definitely commend him for taking that step. I also feel that since he's giving money away, that he should give a little bit more money to Lil Wayne, since he used no grease when he pretty much butt raped his career. So you have to do right by those who helped you get all that money as well. So definitely, Mr. Birdman, um, it's a good thing at what you're doing, but also make amends with the people who you look to as family as well. You know, just have to. I'm sorry. He caused quite a ruckus and pretty much messed up a very, very legendary record label just with his improper business practices. So I feel that some of these artists are definitely using this pandemic to shine a light on themselves when it does not excuse their past behaviors at all. All right. Now, to what a lot of people are talking about right now is Michael Jordan. He has a docu series that had came out. Let's see, this came out on. I want to say it was ESPN. It was a 10-part documentary series, The Last Dance. Forbes' Kurt Badenhausen reported that Jordan plans to donate the proceeds he'll receive, estimated to be around $3 million to $4 million, to charity. Numerous sports fans were eagerly anticipating the documentary when it first announced in May of 2018. The anticipation reached a high point as the COVID-19 pandemic has brought a halt to live sports. ESPN moved up the series from its original June air date. The first two episodes, which aired Sunday night, drew an average of 6.1 million viewers. While Jordan won't directly benefit financially as a result of The Last Dance, he's likely to collect less tangible rewards. For those who watched the Chicago Bulls legend as a player, the entire undertaking will serve as a reminder of why he's almost universally considered the greatest basketball player of all times. Um, Younger generations who are more familiar with the exploits of Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, yeah. Meanwhile, we'll get a detailed look at Jordan's entire career. Um, I'm gonna just be honest with you. I always felt that Michael Jordan could have done more in the community. All I've ever known Michael Jordan to do is have basketball camps, and you know, he didn't do a lot of cameos in movies and shows. But I'm just be honest with you. Just in my lifetime, I have seen more humanitarian deeds being done by my favorite basketball player, which is LeBron James. I have seen him do more things in the community and with the youth than I have Jordan. Um, and I used to be a big Jordan fan, but I've seen LeBron do a lot more when it came down to the youth and in his community and just on a broader spectrum of reaching people's peaks and interests. Even Kobe Bryant. So it's just something. It's already something that I feel that you know maybe Jordan could definitely bounce back. But I just feel he should have done more a long time ago. I mean, this man is worth billions of dollars, so it's like he has the money. We've seen him marry and get divorced and get married again and have kids, all type of stuff. I just feel like he should have done more. I mean, almost every household, I'm willing to bet in America probably has a pair of his shoes inside of the home. um, the shoes have never been cheap. They always been expensive. There's been plenty of people who've gotten killed over his apparel. Robbed, all type of stuff. I mean, I've seen people get beat down and the shoes get taken just because of the shoes. I mean, how much they cost? Just think if they were affordable, and these people were able to buy this apparel at an affordable price. Um, a lot of people wouldn't have been doing that stuff for this apparel, willing to take it off other people's backs and feet. So it's things that I feel, and he knows these things. He knows that this happens. He even said that he hates what black people did, regarding his shoes and his apparel, killing each other over them and all of that stuff. It pretty much ties his name to those acts of violence, like, oh, this 17-year-old got killed um, all over some Michael Jordan tennis shoes. this puts his name in things all the time. So I'm only sure that it makes him feel sad that, hey, people are killing each other. My people are killing themselves over my shoes. Like, what? This is not what he intended. So I understand. It's just that when you still benefiting financially off of these things, you should do more in the community. That's how I feel. He has enough money to reach across the United States and communities and still make this money as well. So it's definitely something that I feel that Mr. Jordan, if you ever see this podcast, you definitely need to do more in the community. Should have been doing more in the community. Making Space Jam was just not enough. All right, that you made a cartoon, and you got to do more than that, man. That's all I'm saying. All right. Now to get to, and in no way am I saying is that his fault that stuff is happening. It's just you got to do a little more for the people. All right. Now to get to the Takachi Award for the day, I know you all have been waiting to see who's going to get the Takachi Award. For this moment, we're going to call the digital authorities to come and issue in who is getting the Takachi Award for the day. Now, for the Takachi Award for the day, I'm going to play this clip so you all can hear it. It is a girl who shoots her boyfriend in the stomach because he wouldn't get out of her house after she broke up with him for cheating. And we're going to go to this clip and then we're going to discuss it.
You gonna put the gun on me? You gonna put the gun on me? You lied. You bought that. You bought that. You bought that. Watch out, bro. Get me off camera. You gonna shoot? Get me off camera. It's my phone. You can't tell me to do shit. Get out of my house. Tell me to do shit. You gonna shoot him? What the fuck? Nigga, you really? Everybody who watching. This nigga smoke churn. Man, half of the people that's on my shit don't even know what that shit is, man.
She said,
half of the people on my shit don't even know what that is. Get out! Bitch, you ain't gonna do shit. That's the point. That's why I'm on here, because you ain't gonna do shit. You're not gonna pull it. You're not bitch enough to do it. You're scary. My nigga, you ain't no gangster, my nigga. I bet y'all slap the piss out you. Ah, fuck! This character shot me! This character shot me!
All right. Now, what you just heard, pretty much what you just heard was a young lady. She was inside of her apartment with her boyfriend, and she found out that he was cheating. And she broke up with him, and she was telling him to get out of her home. He basically put her on live to show everybody, what was going on, who she was, and to try to, make her seem like she wasn't nothing. Pretty much shaming her and making her feel as if she's scary and that she's not about that life. Pretty much when guys do stuff like this and then bring up live, they're pretty much trying to get other girls to chime in and talk trash because he know that she's gonna go looking at his live to see who all said something, and if she see multiple girls talking about, they'll come up and or they'll ride and get her or blah blah blah, that she'll kind of feel scared or live in fear after he's gone. Um, what he then uh, does is tell her that she won't do anything, and pretty much she stated that if he didn't leave, well, she didn't say that she would shoot him. That's one thing I didn't hear, but she did state for him to leave, to just go. And I assume she had the gun in her hand because she knew that he was the type of person that would put his hands on her. Thus, why he went on and said that he would slap the crap out of her. And in the video, he actually walked towards her like he was about to do it. So he evidently, from her shooting him in the stomach, he has put his hands on her before. So when he got, I would say, within 5 feet of her, she pulled the trigger. Now I could take it that she wasn't trying to kill him because she shot him in the stomach. If it was, some inches lower, would have been below the waist, and You know how those laws go. But she shot him in the stomach. Um, he has it on live, so it does show that he was about to engage her. Now, whether he would have or not, he displayed that he would have. Now, I do have one of my viewers that is saying that he should have just left, and I definitely agree that he should have just left. But he didn't, and thus is the reason why he got shot. I feel that he was very stupid. He was dumb. As I looked at the comments, a lot of people are roasting him because of him making the decision that he made when he could have avoided that altogether and just left. Ladies, this is the main reason why you listen to your parents, that you have a great relationship with your parents, especially your father. All right. You keep a good relationship with your father. That way, when you get into a relationship, these young men will understand that there are males in your family that will ride for you, that will show up and give them a piece of action that they need in their life. All right. Like, some of these guys need to know that there is a alpha male in the family that will come and dig so far off in that ass that the shoestrings get lost. All right. They need to understand that. That way they will act accordingly. They will think twice about putting their hands on you. When you tell them to leave, they'll just leave because they know it could get way worse. You know, the worst thing you want is a dad, brothers, and cousins coming after you because they look at this person with a high level of self-esteem, with a high level of respect. They look at this loved one like, hey, if you come at them the wrong way, it's gonna be razor blades and lemon juice. So it's like you gotta keep a nice, smooth relationship with your family members, so that things like this will not happen. I definitely encourage any of you young ladies to, if you're about to have sex with a guy, take it serious. You need to make sure that your parents meet him, that your dad meet him, that your brothers meet him. They need to know who this person is. So that way, if something happens to you, they can know who to come after. They can know how the next course of action, because it's all about protecting the family. Okay. Now, for that reason, this is why this young man is getting the Takachi Award for the day, because he knew by his idiotic actions and comments and the things that he was saying. This young woman had a gun in her hand. She had a gun in her hand. So to say all these things, to say that she wasn't bitchy enough to do it and things of that nature, you know, he was provoking her. He's definitely provoking her. So this is why he gets the Takashi Award for the day. They need to grab all of the people in the sweatshops, let them get together for about, I'm gonna give them about 2.5 weeks, and they need to stitch the biggest dunce hat that they can assemble, and then they need to tie that dunce hat to a crane and let the crane take it way, way up into the air. And this person needs to stand on the tallest ladder that they can develop, and let him stand there. And then the crane just needs to drop that dunce hat right on top of his head. And with that dunce hat dropping on his head, we need to hear the warning sound letting us know that Mr. Stupid Idiot with the dumb face, the weird looking head, with the screechy high voice when he gets shot, knowing that he asked for it, we need to know when he's around. Mr. Woman Abuser. We need to know when he's around. We need to know when he has entered the city. All right. We need to know. That is very, very important. But obviously, we know where he is right now. He's in the hospital trying to recuperate from his intestines, probably pouring out of his little stomach. All right. So, to each his own. Sometime when you do dumb things, you deserve the consequences behind it. And I'm not going to say sometimes, all the time, because you just need to think before you do. That's the most important thing about life. Now, to all of you who have chimed in today and got on this podcast with Rex McLeod and you and became active today, please don't forget to go to YouTube, um, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for me. It's at Rack City 314. This is a fairly new platform that we took over on YouTube. So definitely please go support it. And if you're on YouTube and YouTube world, you can go check the Facebook page out, Rack City 314 podcast. Definitely check it out. They have plenty of videos that go back to maybe about the beginning of March sometime. So go check it out. There's plenty of content. Like the page. Request to be a friend on the page. You know, do whatever you have to do. Share the videos. I definitely encourage it and become active. All right. I thank you all for chilling with your boy Rex McLeod today. I really definitely appreciate it. And I want all of you to have a magnificent night. And I shall see you all tomorrow. All right. Peace out. This is your boy, Rex McLeod, coming at you.